Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started here. Good morning, everyone. It's a little after 11 a.m. here in California, and I think we'll go ahead and get things rolling here. My name is Vince. I just want to welcome you to this presentation, Novedge's Best of the Best webinar series. I want to thank all of you for tuning in today. We're extremely excited to not only present the newest release of Vectorworks, but to have Wes Gardner on board with us once again for another informative webinar here. Just a little background on Wes in case any of you are unfamiliar. He is an architect who joined the Nemetschek Vectorworks team as an architecture industry specialist in 2007. He has advised the Vectorworks product development team by leveraging his BIM expertise and building product and architectural intelligence. He has also worked directly with the Vectorworks user community to overcome everyday challenges, encourages BIM workflows, and presents features and tips to help maximize user productivity and efficiency. Okay, so needless to say, Wes is the guy. He's the expert. We're lucky to have him on board with us again. Wes is going to speak for about the next 40 minutes or so. During that time, everyone will be in listen-only mode, but please feel free to send your questions into the question box. Afterwards, we'll open up to a Q&A. We will be recording this webinar, so if you have any questions about that, where to find it, how to access it, we'll get to all that after Wes is done. Having said all that, though, I want to turn it over to Wes so we can get to as much of his presentation as possible. Wes, are you there?
I am here, and thank you, Vince, for that glowing intro.
Yeah, thank you again for doing this with us. I'm going to go ahead and switch the screen over to you, and we'll get things going.
Okay. Right. So hopefully everyone can see my screen now. Here's a picture of yours truly and the title, BIM for the Smart Size Firm, featuring Vectorworks Architect. So that's really what we're going to talk about today, is doing BIM in Vectorworks Architect. But first, I'd like to cut through a lot of the chatter I'm sure we've all heard regarding what BIM is. For me, I like to keep things simple. So I define BIM as a digital representation of a building that can be queried for information. And as you can see, I'm using Vectorworks as my display, and it just asked me, whether I wanted to save my work, and no, I don't. Anyway, like I said, I like to keep things simple. To me, it's as simple as that. Whether that model information is ever shared down the road really depends on the project. So we'll just kind of leave that at that. What I'd like to look at today is how we can start with a massing model and finish with a full-blown building information model. So anyway, here's this little multi-unit project I started using our new instant push-pull tool, which I will use some throughout this demonstration, in conjunction with our automatic working planes. And I developed this little massing model here that we can, kind of look at. To maybe punch up the model a little bit, I'll include a heliodon object that's new for Vectorworks 2012. And basically what it will do is provide some shade and shadow on the project. So here's the shadow cast by the buildings, and we'll take a look at kind of how we can look at a solar array throughout the day. As you can see, I can move the slider back and forth and kind of get an idea of where the sun's going to be located at any given hour of the day. And let's see, we'll put in maybe the month that it really is, and perhaps the day, so we can get a real-time look at what the sun's doing. And that's all fine and good, but where are we? And if I cancel out of this, or I could accept the default, either one, what we'll do is go over here and we can see that we're in Washington. And I'll open up the settings dialog box that'll show me a little bit about how I can control the heliodon a little further. We've basically broken the globe into regions, with the good old USA being one region, and then further broken it out into cities. And you can see we're defaulting here to Washington, D.C. I understand many of you are out there on the left coast. Perhaps you're in San Francisco or San Diego. I'll choose San Diego, for instance. And what we'll see is that the sun can now be studied as if you were in San Diego at any given time of the day. So anyway, that's just sort of a new feature for Vectorworks 2012. Thought you'd like to see that. It can give you some information that might be relevant to your building information model. I'll go here. I'm going to switch my view to include maybe a plant object, and as you can see, the sun is going to cast a shadow here under the tree. If I go back to my solar animation, I can move the sun throughout the day and see how the tree casts a shadow on the little buildings. Of course, if I move the model around, we can see that in the afternoon we're going to get some sun blocking our porch there, which might be a good thing. So that's a little bit about the Heliodon tool. What I want to do now is switch back to my first model view, which will get rid of my little tree object there. All I'm doing is using save views to control that. And perhaps what we can do now is take a look at the model. I just blew away the shade and shadow. I blew away the Heliodon tool here just so the model will respond a little better. So now maybe what I could do is demonstrate how I might go about building an information model, like I said, from a simple massive model. So what I might do is start, here let me turn on my nav palette so I can tell what layer and class I'm on. That's always important to have open. So what I'll do is maybe just start with a footprint of a new building, and perhaps I'll make it, I don't know, 25 feet deep and I don't know, 16 feet, let's say, wide. So there's my triangle or my rectangle here, and you can see that it's defaulting to red, which means I can use the instant push-pull to automatically create this this new building. As you can see, I can move it up dynamically, up and down dynamically, or with the little heads-up display there, I can type in a fixed distance, let's say 50 feet. That will give us enough for maybe a 4-story building and some change. So here's my form. Well, let's further define it a little bit. So I will maybe give it that sort of distinctive roof form like you see here. You can see when things are glowing in blue, what that means is the automatic working plane is sensing a plane and is setting the working plane to it. So if I highlight this particular front face, I'll go ahead and create a roof form. And then I'll use that push-pull tool. If I hold my Option key down, it will automatically cut off that portion of the roof. Maybe we'll do that again. I have these sort of covered entry spaces down here, so maybe I'll go through here and create another one down here so we can actually get into the building comfortably without having to stand in the rain. So there you have it. There's our form. And we can, of course, use the flyover tool and fly around and check it out and make sure that it's the right massing. I kind of like that. So there you have it. Of course, what is this object? Well, this object is a solid subtraction. And what information can we get out of that? Well, probably not that much. So what are we going to do? Well, we could either end the webinar right now, which might not be a good thing, or we could continue maybe trying to get a little more information out of our model. And so what I'll do is use a command that can create walls directly from our solid subtraction, and you do that under space planning, model to floor plan. So if I click on that, what we'll see is that if I check these or uncheck these different layers, these will be included in the model. And I'm going to go for like a 4-story building, so that's why I've got 1 through 4. Down here, I can position the walls either inside or outside or to the center of the existing massing model, which is, you know, our white blob there. And I'm going to use a wall style that, you know, we ship with a whole lot of wall styles. As you know, this is not new to 2012. But I'm going to use the 2x6 stucco wall style because I kind of like it. And I'll just click OK. And of course, Vectorworks is going to grind away just for a second to create those walls from the massing model. And there you have it. So what I'll do right now is I'll just blow away that massing model form. We don't really need it anymore. These are now Vectorworks walls. If we go down here and you know, hover over one, that highlight, we'll see here in the object info palette that it is truly a Vectorworks wall. It's exterior 2x6 stucco, and it's on the first floor. And it's in the class wall exterior, just like it should be. And that's a good thing. So there we have some walls right from our massing model. We didn't have to go back. We didn't have to redraw anything. We just moved forward. So let's see. What can we do with these walls? Well, they are typical Vectorworks walls. So if I go to my building shell, I'll insert some doors and windows in them, just like you would expect. So here's a couple of windows. Come around here to the front face, pull in the front. Sure, I like that. Maybe a door object, so we can get in the little model. Here's a door object. That particular door is like a solid core door. Might not like that. So let's create maybe a glass panel door so we could get some light into our project. Yep, like that better. Okay, so now I want to change my layer arrangement to show snap others. And the reason I'm going to do that is I want to put some windows in the upper levels. So I'm going to go up here to the second floor. And you can see the walls highlighting. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to align to the window below. And stick a window in that second story wall. Same over here. I'm going to align to the window below, stick the window in. You don't have to do this. As you can see, I'm just going to sort of freeform a window in here. You know, maybe another one over here. I like lots of glass in my projects. So let's go up to maybe the third floor. You can see the whole project's glowing blue. That's because the site there is the automatic working plane is sensing the site, but don't let that confuse you. So we're just going to, let's see, maybe put some more windows in. All I'm doing once again is moving the window object near the wall, letting it sense it so it glows red there. And then I'm just going to align to the window below and insert my window just the way you always would. So there we go. See a couple more. Maybe we'll even, whoops, missed on that one. Maybe we'll even put some on the fourth floor here. So we'll go up here to the fourth floor, go to Windows, go to Window, align it to the window below. Yep, there we go. It takes a little while, don't forget, because it's rendering each time I make these moves. I've got it set up for rendering in OpenGL. This isn't a new feature, but I'll show it anyway. OpenGL options here. You can see that I've got my settings. I've got it set up to show shadows and draw edges, so you can kind of see the highlighted edges of the project. So there you have that much. So we have windows in our project. Well, that's very good. So what would we do? Typically, what we would want to do, certainly down the road, is create a window schedule. So how are we going to do that? Well, let's see. I'm going to go to Show Snap Modify Others in my layer settings. And the reason for that is what I want to do is, I did notice while I was placing these windows, if we look in the object info palette, that I don't have it checked on schedule. So what that would mean, of course, if I ran a window schedule, I wouldn't get anything on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my what we call magic wand tool or select similar tool, and I'm going to select the window, and of course what it does is it selects similar, so it selects all the windows. As we can see here in the object info palette, I've got 11 windows selected, and I'm going to check on schedule. So what that's going to do is it's basically going to put all the windows in the project on the schedule. And let's take a look at that schedule. We will go to Tools and Reports. VA, which stands for Vectorworks Architect, not Virginia, create schedule, and I'm going to just ask it, well, what kind of schedule? Well, I want to create a window schedule, and I don't necessarily want to place this on the drawing for this demonstration. I just want to create a schedule. So I'll say OK. And as we can see, that's just great. Nothing happens. Well, that's because behind the scenes here, it created a schedule way down here at the bottom in the object, or in the resource browser, sorry. And if I right-click, I know you can't see me right-click, but just trust me that I will right-click and say Open. And what that will do is open the window schedule, as you can see. So we'll sort of just plunk this schedule right here, and I'll move the model up a little bit so we can see. What I want to do is show a little bit of two-way worksheet ability. As you can see here, here are all 11 of my windows that have been accounted for in the schedule. But let's say, for instance, we wanted to maybe, I don't know, we'll zoom into this window and grab it here, and perhaps we want to create a corner window. So we'll tick corner window here, and you'll see what happens. It'll go over there to the corner automatically. And then maybe it's mate over here. We'll tick corner window. And what will happen is they'll link up and create a corner window just the way you'd expect. Pretty cool. All right. So here is another window, let's say. Actually, that's a wall. So let's pick the window, like I said. And we'll make this one perhaps a little wider. So we'll type in 60 inches, let's say, and click OK. Now, what I want to do, of course, is recalculate the window schedule to reflect those changes. And what we can see is that, in truth, we now have 8 of the 2'6" by 4'0" casement windows, which are these down here. And then we've got a couple of corner windows and the one that I made real wide. Well, let's say I really don't like that design so much. I can change it here in the model. I can also change it here in the worksheet. You know, I can go to maybe 48 inches. And what we'll see is that the window will change width. Perhaps this one, you know, we don't, we say right now it's 2'6". Maybe we want to go to 24 inches, let's say. So when we do that, you can see the window gets narrower. And if we recalculate the worksheet, of course, it'll be reflected there. There's my window. And if we want a square top, which it's defaulting to, maybe we want it sloped to the roof as soon as I put a roof on the project. Don't like that slope. It's sloping the wrong way. Maybe we'll put a 16-inch slope going the other way. So there you have it. Of course, now when I still don't want to save my work. I know you can turn that off. What you'll see here is that maybe that window really isn't so appropriate after all I went through. So maybe I'll just change that back to a square top window. So there you have it. All right. So what we can see here is that I can get the worksheet to control the geometry in the model, or I can change the geometry and it will be updated in the worksheet. That, of course, will save you a lot of time and errors in creating door and window schedules. So please, even if you're drawing in 2D, go ahead and use the automation of the wall tool and door and windows schedule so you can create these schedules. or door and window objects so you can create these schedules, sorry. So let's see, I guess I'm kind of done with the window schedule, so I'm just going to make that go away. Here we have our little model, but right here we have this kind of overhang that looks a little, I don't know, tedious to me. So maybe what we should do is put a column object right here in under the overhang here, and we're going to have to do that, of course, on the first floor. So I'm going to pick up a, using my cursor cues, I'm going to pick up the corner there, and I'm going to pick up the corner here. And when I drag my column out, you can see that the red and the green lines join, so I know I've got it right in the right spot. And there's my column. Problem is now I have this little overhanging scenario that might be kind of a problem to flash. So now I want to move that column back under the building a little bit. Well, we're in a 3D view, so I really need to move it in 3D. And of course, you do that by move and then move 3D. And this gives you all three axes in which to move it. And I know that column's about 18 inches square, so half of that would be 9. So maybe I'll move it under there, you know, maybe 10 inches to give me a little overhang so water won't run down into the column. When I hit OK, the column will move back under the building just the way it should. So there you have it. And if we move around the little building, we can see that we're pretty good to go. Zoom out a little bit. All right, I kind of like that. Let's see. Next, I'll be a little cautious of time here. Let's see. Next, I want to, maybe since we now have columns, we have windows, we have doors, maybe we ought to create some floors. And as you can see, if I rotate the model around, you can see right down through it. There are no floors at all in the building right now. Probably difficult to walk in there. So let's create a floor, more specifically a slab object. And I'm going to do that on the 4th floor up here so you guys can see it happen. And I'm just going to control the layers a little more carefully so I don't accidentally snap to one that I don't want to. Now, with that set to show others, I'll just be able to operate here on the 4th floor. So I will use my trusty slab object here in the building shell toolset, and I will go around and pick walls like that. And then the old green checkbox or the Enter key will say OK to accept what I've done. And you can see there's my slab. So, excuse me, here's my slab. And as we can see, it is on the 4th floor, but it really has no style. Well, we can't have that. We got to be stylish here. So we're going to replace it with a styled slab. And as you probably know, Vectorworks ships with a whole bunch of slab style pre-configured. Of course, you can build your own like I've done up here, floor assembly wood I-joist, which is one I made to accommodate the depth of an I-joist, and we'll get to that in a second. Anyway, I will just accept the default there, and you'll see that the slab is now thick enough to accommodate some I-joists. Well, how about those I-joists? Let's take a look at maybe framing this slab. So what we'll do here is go to AEC and framing, and then create joists from poly. Now this command isn't necessarily new, but some of the elements within it are, like the ability to place our soon-to-be floor joists in a certain location within the slab. So this is by component. I only have 2 components in my slab style. One is T&G plywood deck, which would be the subfloor, and the other one is, of course, the joist gallery. That's where I want those joists to appear. And so I will just offset them slightly so that they will appear in the correct place. And I'm just going to accept the rest of the values here. You could do different joints, et cetera, and you can further define the colors and that kind of thing and texture of the joist. But I'll just accept those values. And I'm going to click OK. Now it's going to ask me, well, you need to tell me how the joists are going to run, which direction. So you can see pick 2 points, and I'll just say OK. And if I highlight the slab there, what you can see is 2 things happen. 1, it created the joists, and 2, it created a joist takeoff for me. This was all automated. I didn't do a thing other than click the mouse a couple of times. Okay, so that's a little more about getting down the road towards BIM, as we can now actually count how many joists there are. But I said I wanted to use engineered eye joists, and these are defaulting to just regular solid beams, as you can see here. So what I need to do under structural use, I'm going to change that to joist, just so if I run any subsequent schedules, they'll actually show up as joists. I'll know what they are. And then they currently say solid beam. Well, what I want to do is use an engineered eye joist, which is a custom profile. So I'll select custom profile, and it will take a second to, ooh, look, I'm getting odd custom profiles. Gee, let's look at what I got. Oh, I got some trees. Well, that probably isn't exactly what I want. I actually want these, which of course are eye joists. And for this particular building with a span of, I don't know, 16 feet, I'll probably choose a 11 7/8 by 230. That's a TGI specific joist. I know and love it, and it will span the distance and give you a nice stiff floor, so I'll choose that. And what we'll see here in a minute, it'll get rid of these trees and it'll turn those joists into eye joists. And if I go to wireframe here, we can see, I'll spin the model a little bit and zoom in. We can see that we really did create eye joists just like you would think. So there we have that. We framed the floor, and in fact, if I go to a top plan view, we can cut a section through the building, and we'll see what we've got here. So I'll merely cut a section using View, Create Section Viewport, and we'll create a section just like we have been doing for a while, and I'll place that section on a sheet layer. I'm just going to accept all the defaults here. You could name the sheet and all of that stuff, but I'll just accept the defaults and say OK, whereupon Vectorworks will create a sectional view for me. And you can see here are my floor joists placed right where I want them. Okay, so there we have it for floors, or floors and slabs, actually. We'll go back here to the model, check it out. Yeah, there they all are. All right, so next what we've got now, we've got door and window schedules. We've got some floor joists that we can account for. Maybe we want to assign some room finishes. And we'll do that by using the see, we'll go over here to the space planning tool set, and we'll use the space tool. Let's see, I'm going to do this on the 4th floor, so I will turn that and make that layer active, as you can see. And we will click the space tool, right? And then I'm going to use the paint bucket mode of the space tool and ask it to create me a space. So there it did. It created me a space. And I need to turn on, yeah, I got all the right classes on, so I should be good to go. We will spin the model around here. Actually, I think what we'll do is just go to wireframe. And I'll go to a top plan view, and this will more clearly show the space tool. And what you can see is The last time I used it, I used this particular configuration of the space tool, so that's what it's defaulting to. You control that under settings. And if we go to settings, we can see space label. That's how you get these different look and feels of the space tag. And of course, you then can enter finishes per room, and you do that by scrolling down here to the bottom, and you'll see on room schedule needs to be checked. If it's not, then you can't get to the assign room finishes button. So make sure that on room finish, or I'm sorry, on room finish schedule is checked. If I check, you can see this now is selectable, and we can figure out what we want in our room. So maybe we want some drywall, 5/8, stouter, base. I like nice high bases. So we'll use base. Floor, sure, it's good. Ceiling.
Wes, are you there? Can I
am.
your sound's kind of fuzzy there. I don't know.
It's still. Let me. I'll try.
Wes, are you there? Sorry for the delay, everyone. We'll just get this fixed here in a minute. No, still not hearing anything.
How about now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, just turn it up a little.
How about now?
Yep, perfect. Cool.
Okay, sorry about that, folks. Anyway, we were putting some finishes in this room, so I can pretty much just say OK, and what you'll see is the room finish schedule. Or I'm sorry, the room finishes will appear here in plan view. If we need the schedule, and of course we do, we can go to reports, create room finish schedule, and it'll ask me, yes, do I want to put it on the sheet, and I can say certainly. And so here's my finish schedule, just the way you would expect. And of course, if you update any of these finishes, this will update as well. All right. So now we have room finishes, we have quantities of floor joists, we have door and window schedules. So what's next? Let's see. I think probably what we'll do is go back to a 3D view, and we'll go to OpenGL. And what we can see, no, I still don't want to save my work. We'll put a roof on this little building. And what I will do, since it's just a mono pitch, I'll probably just use the roof face tool. Go up here to 4th floor, sure. Get my automatic working plane to sense that I want the top of the walls there. Perfect. I'm going to go back to plan view here. And I'll have to make a couple of little adjustments because I missed a little bit here. So I'll just stretch this rectangle out. As you can see, Right now it's just a simple rectangle. I'm going to increase its size a little bit to give it an overhang. Let's see, in both dimensions. Okay, very good. Now let's create a roof face. All right, simple. We will just go to AEC roof face, whereupon I need to put in some basic information like maybe the pitch, we'll say 30 degrees, and maybe the thickness will accommodate some pretty good, maybe some 2x12, so I'll say 12 inches and say OK. Now what I need to do is define the upslope, and you can do that with this little arrow. So upslope is going to be into the building. So there you have it. If we go back to a 3D view, we can see that we have a roof. And of course I created it on the 4th floor, so it's a little low. I should have probably created it on a roof layer, but I didn't. So now we will just elevate it, let's say 8 feet. Very good. So now what we can do is select these walls and fit walls to roof, whereupon the walls will fit to the underside of the roof, just like that. Okay, so let's go here to OpenGL, and we can take a little spin around our model. And there you have it. So basically now what I have done is I've taken my little massing model that I started with, and I've created a BIM model. So all of these elements now have intelligence. They can be shared down the road with others if they need to be. If you need to do that, you can basically export your model via IFC or DWG to share it with others. IFC, of course, will maintain all the data that you've attached to your various objects. DWG will give you both a 2D and a 3D look at your model. Of course, data doesn't necessarily flow with DWG. So there you can take your pick. I can show you how to export an IFC model. I think we still have a little time left. This won't take very long. If we go to the export menu, we can say export IFC project. And what we'll get here is a dialog box that will actually ask you what do you want to put on what story. Now I didn't use stories in this particular project, so I'm just going to map them all onto story number 1. If I had used stories, we would actually have the individual design layers in story 1. We'd probably have more than one story, and if I say OK, Vectorworks will create an IFC model for me. As you can see, studymodel.ifc. And if I say save, it will create this model. This might take a little while to do, but it shouldn't take too long. There we go. So if we want to view the model in a viewer to validate the IFC capabilities, we can do that. What we'll see is this will be the only model that is going to be exported. These are just still very much massing model objects, so they won't be exported into our IFC model. So if we close Vectorworks here, nope, we don't want to save our work. And we can see our IFC model here. If I take it into something like Solibri Model Checker, we'll see that we will get our IFC model. This shouldn't take very long. So here we have our model in Solibri, and as we can see, all of the elements did come across just the way we would expect them to. In Solibri, you can show and hide, let's say, all the walls, so we'll be able to see the floor structure and that kind of thing. This is Solibri Model Checker, so we can run collision detection and other reports like that. So that's kind of how you can take a Vectorworks model from this sort of scenario, change it into this sort of scenario where it actually is a BIM model, and share it with others. So that's kind of it for me. I'm hoping that I ran the required amount of time.
Yeah, that's perfect. I think we'll just jump into some questions here.
Okay.
Here, we'll get the first one here from Eric. How do you update the window mark? All of them show W-01. Should they be different marks?
They could. In this particular project, the style, let's say, of window schedule I used was everything that is window type 1 would have shown as 1. I should have gone in there and, like, let's say this window that I made 5 feet wide, I should have given it another number. It does not do that automatically. So yeah, that's my fault for not updating the schedule when I created it. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I think that was great. Here's another one from Joshua. He said he noticed there are several stories to each of the models. Is there a simple way to set that up?
Oh yeah. I'll go to a front view which might show it a little more clearly. This is what I did just with these construction lines. I just created 4 stories, each one, actually floors. I didn't use stories. Stories is something new to Vectorworks 2012, which I did not use. It would have added, just too much complication, if you will, to this presentation. So all I did was use common design layers, just the way we've always used them, and I created 4 of them. If we go up here to the organization and go to the design layers, you can see here they are, 1, 2, 3, 4, and of course I have a site layer with sort of 0 elevation, but everything else is just stacked 10 feet above the other.
Okay, here's a question about your hardware more specifically. What kind of Mac processor and RAM are you running?
Okay, let's take a look at that. That's important. We'll go to About This Mac. This machine that I am using is a MacBook Pro laptop. Fairly standard, fairly new, fairly nice. It's an i7, as you can see, Intel dual-core i7. It does have 4 gigs of RAM, which I think for this machine is standard. And you can see I am running 10.68, which is not Lion. We haven't updated yet, or at least I haven't updated. So that's kind of it for the hardware.
Okay, cool. Here's one from Bryce. If you import an IFC model, are all the parametric capabilities for design revising retained?
No. IFC, well, actually, it's a yes and no kind of answer. Some of the objects retain their parametric capabilities, and some do not. Most are locked, so they become sort of frozen, if you will.
Okay. Here's one from Will. How about importing IFC/BIM info from other platforms for coordination and scheduling?
Sure, great question. Actually, IFC is designed to do just that. We can, let's see here on the import side, we can import IFC. And of course, all of the major players like ArchiCAD or Revit or Bentley Systems can also create and export IFC models, as well as there's a bunch of structural packages that can do so as well. So yes, you should be able to bring all your model data together. Furthermore, I would recommend, if you are going to do something like that, to bring all of your model data together in a program like Solibri or Navisworks. Solibri runs on both platforms, both Mac and PC, and their viewer is free, so you'll be able to validate your model before you send it out to someone else. So I hope that answers that.
Okay, cool. Let's get to one from John here. How do you adjust wall heights, floor levels to match real-world dimensions?
Well, let's see. In these particular walls, what I would do is I would have created a wall height to exactly match exactly what I'm going to build. So if I needed an offset, let's say, for the siding to overlap the structural system, you would have done that in the wall style. That might take me a little while to explain. I'll kind of go through it real quick. Let's say the stucco and the sheathing, I'll pick the sheathing and give it an offset of, if my floor system was, let's say, 12 inches thick, I'd put a -12 offset in there, and that would get the sheathing to lap down over the floor structure just the way you'd really build it. Hope that answers that question.
Yeah, I think that was good. Here's one from Irving. Has the capability or compatibility of exporting DWG files been improved over previous versions of Vectorworks?
Yes, that's something we typically pride ourselves in. We realize that, of course, we're going to talk to a lot of folks, particularly in the engineering world, use Autodesk products, AutoCAD, and so of course, yes, we do need to talk DWG both on the import and the export side, and we can import and export right on up to 2012.
Okay, excellent. Let's just get to a couple more here. Here's one from Zeno. How can I export 2D files in DWG format, for example, a plan view of the third floor?
You might want to do that by sheet layer. We go to export. I only have the one sheet in this this particular model. If there were more, they would have shown up here, and you basically just sort of check the ones you want to export, and if they're in plan view, they will be exported as plan view. You can also export viewports as 2D graphics in model space. This is something to bring it right on into their model space. So that's something you might want to consider.
Okay, great. Here's one from Alex. What is your preferred method of decomposing the model into 2D construction documents in an editable form?
Well, I could talk about that for about 3.5 days. To make it sort of quick, what I typically would want to do is sort of what I demonstrated I would build my model in design layers, and then of course to present it or to create sheets that you would want to print out or PDF, you're going to want to make sheet layers from them, and they basically then would be your 2D information.
Okay, cool. Here's one from Ralph. I see the program has great support for framing. What sort of support does it provide for the MEP disciplines in building model creation?
Well, we do offer a few tools for MEP. We have a piping object tools. We can create some HVAC objects. These will be in both 2D and 3D. Of course, we have some electrical componentry as well. So if you want to get into like creating, a wiring diagram for, a building, you can certainly do that.
Okay, great. I think we'll just get to one last question here from Eric. It says, can you auto-generate roofs? How do you auto-generate roofs? Are the roof types like the wall and floor types, or did you have to create them the way you did?
Oh, no. That's a really good question. All I did was, since this was a simple mono-pitched roof, I chose to do what we say. They're not highlighted here. I created a roof face. To create a roof, you can pretty much do it. Let's see. create roof. And it'll ask me some, parameters for the roof, and if I say okay, there's my roof. So it creates a hip roof out of the box. You can, of course, these blue nodes, if you click on one of those, and if you want to change it to a gable end, sure, I can do that. I can add or subtract overhang, sure, yep. So there's my gable end. So that's kind of how to create roofs. You can create roofs from a shape like I did, from a rectangle, or you can actually use the walls. So like the top level of your, let's say if it's a house and it's 2-story, use your 2nd-story walls to create the roofs from. And you basically go around and pick all the walls and then say create roof. So that's how to do that.
Okay, great. I think I'm going to switch it over to my screen and we'll wrap things up here.
Okay.
So again, thank you, Wes. That was truly fascinating. I'm sure everyone out there enjoyed it as much as I did.
Well,
Again,
thank you for having me. I guess I need to apologize for our audio. I'll check into that and see what on earth is going on here.
Don't worry. Quick fix. Nothing. No harm done there.
Okay.
Again, I want to thank all of you who attended this presentation, Novedge's Best of the Best webinar series. Just real quickly, if you're unfamiliar with us here at Novedge, we're the leading online design software superstore. We have the best prices around. Our staff is extremely awesome, incredibly knowledgeable. Love to hear from you. Call, chat with us anytime. Another quick bit of info I'd like to draw your attention to here is Vectorworking. We've created several online communities to foster the collaboration, coordination, design professionals. One such is Vectorworking, tailored especially to Vectorworks users. It's free, it's easy to join. When you do, you get the latest news, trends, videos, events, tutorials, all things related to Vectorworks. This webinar will be made available there, so if you want to view it again, go ahead and shoot yourself over there and you can check it out as many times as you want. Also, between now and December 15th, if you're not already a member, we'll be giving away $100 to one lucky member who joins between now and December 15th. So, I mean, definitely check it out if you're interested in taking Vectorworks to the next level, I guess. Additionally, all those who attended this webinar will be getting $300 off the list price of Vectorworks 2012. So we'll shoot you an email with complete details on everything I said, sort of to wrap things up. But yeah, having said all that, Wes, is there anything else you want to add really quick before we sign off? Nope. Okay. So having said all that, I think we'll sign off. We'll see you guys next time.